I wanted to come on here and briefly talk about this story involving this basketball player out of Florida, well, who plays for Florida. His name is Keyontae Johnson. Now, depending on whether or not you follow sports or anything like that, you may or may not have heard this story. But a few nights ago, right in the middle of him playing his game, he just collapsed out of nowhere, right there in the middle of the court, like right there playing, and he literally face planted right onto the floor. Like you could actually see it. And then of course they had to put him onto a stretcher and carry him out of the arena where he was playing at. And there was like nobody knew what happened. Like he just collapsed right there, passed out, and then he had to get transported, of course, to the hospital. Where since he's been in the hospital, which has been for a few days now, he got put into a medically induced coma. Now, mind you, he's in college, so that means he's very young. He's in his 20s. So nobody knows like what exactly happened. Now, I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but a lot of people did and said, did he have COVID-19? And there were no reports that went out there suggesting that he did. Like nothing was put out there into the atmosphere or into the media that that's what he had. So people was like, okay, stop jumping to the gun and saying that he had the virus because it could have been something else. But then upon reading even further into this, I actually found out that over the summer, Keyontae did have the virus. So they said over the summer, he did catch it. He tested positive. And now he passes out in the middle of his game right there on the court. So it may be a possibility that because they're most likely going to test him for the virus again if they haven't already. If he was to test negative for this virus, it's a strong possibility that the remnants of him having it before has caught up with him now. It's still like these are the side effects that are left over, because like I said, it's still people out there to this day who still have symptoms of this virus while they don't have the virus in their body anymore, as far as them testing negative or positive for it. So if that's the case, that means whatever his body did not fight off is still lying dormant in his system, and that's what probably caused him to pass out. Now I'm going to go ahead and read this story that just came out on USA Today that says Keyontae Johnson, Florida player who collapsed following simple commands after coma, which is a good thing. That means that he's able to respond to, like the article says, simple commands. Florida men's basketball player Keyontae Johnson remained in critical but stable condition Monday afternoon after collapsing during a game over the weekend, the school said in a statement. The Gators announced that Johnson had been transported to a hospital in Gainesville, Florida, after receiving his initial treatment in Tallahassee. As of Monday afternoon, he was following simple commands and undergoing further tests, according to the school. Johnson's grandfather, Larry DeJarnett, told USA Today Sports earlier Monday that his grandson was in a medically induced coma and that doctors hoped to bring him out of the coma later that day. He may have had activity in the brain, so they induced the coma, DeJarnett told USA Today Sports. They put him on medication to keep him sedated. Johnson, the SEC's preseason player of the year, was taken off the court on a stretcher Saturday after he collapsed as the Gators were coming out of a timeout in the first half. He was transported to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, and Florida initially described him as being in critical but stable condition. The teams finished the game, which the Seminoles won 83-71. It's unclear if Johnson's condition is connected to COVID-19 or if he had previously tested positive. Like I said, I heard that he had the virus over the summer. That's what I heard. It says Florida had to pause team activities last month because of positive COVID-19 tests, and Coach Mike White said the team also had previous issues, but details were not released because of privacy laws. Well, there you go. It's a possibility that he could have gotten it. So, but they're not saying whether he whether he has it or if he didn't. But if he did have it, like I said, this could be remnants of it, because we've heard stories of people who still have issues after having this, after the virus has left their body, quote unquote. Like I remember hearing somebody said that they had a loved one who lost their sense of taste when they caught the virus. And now the virus is out of their system, but they still couldn't taste anything. So it's long term, it's long lasting effects behind that. And that's one thing a lot of people don't like to touch on or talk about, is the long term effects after the fact. And that's something that needs to be highlighted a little bit more. The Jarnett, his grandfather, told USA Today he did not know whether Johnson ever suffered from the virus. So his grandfather can't confirm or deny if he had it either. I know that there were some of the times when some of the team was quarantined. Yes, I don't know if he was one of them or not. So it's still a lot of speculation there of whether or not he had this virus or not. But based on what I've been reading so far on social media, it's saying that he did over the summer have this virus. Like I said, nothing can be confirmed or denied of whether or not he did have this virus or not. But when they say that, now that their coach came out and said that there was some positive tests that came back from this team last month, and they didn't say how far into last month, because last month could have been the end of November after Thanksgiving, which would have just been a couple weeks ago. But I do hope that he makes a full recovery, because he's very young. And they didn't say anything about him having a medical history. Like, they didn't say if he had any illnesses outside of the virus. Is there a family history, or anything like that? Because they said it affected his brain. So if he was like a perfect bill of health, like no diseases or no illnesses, they're going to try to link it to that as the cause for why he collapsed on that court. And I think the brain, also some of the brain damage could have came too, because they said he fell face first, so that he could have got a concussion. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I hope that he makes a full recovery. Y'all let me know if y'all think he had or has the virus, and do you think that this is what could have caused it? And I'll talk to you in the next one.